can do that. Welcome everybody to the Rocky Mountain Asphalt Conference Top 10 Virtual Training Sessions. And today, really unique opportunity to provide input, guidance, and learn a lot more about what we can all do for involving more women in this profession and just making sure that the information is out there so that young girls as well as women who are looking to change professions as well as those in the industry know what sort of resources are out there. So this is a town hall meeting from the Women of Asphalt talking about their new training academy. And with that, I will turn it over to Tom.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome. I am moderating this session for the women this morning. We have a great group of women at that. Wow, we're getting a lot of feedback from somewhere. And we figure this out. That's bad.
Oh.
Yeah, hang on. That's
really
bad
bad
feedback.
feedback. I gotta figure that out.
Is that better? There we go.
Yeah.
Nope.
Nope.
I'm trying to find out who needs to be muted.
I'm going to mute all, including Tom. And then those of you, please just unmute as you go to present. Mute yourself if you're not presenting. So Tom, if you want to go ahead and unmute at this point.
Let me get back to where I can unmute. 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 It's not letting me unmute. Wow. Can you guys hear me?
Tom, I think it's that you've got two devices going right now, because we can hear you, but your video one's muted.
So here we go. Good morning, I'm Tom Clayton. I am moderating the session today for the Women of Asphalt, and I'm happy to be doing it. The Women of Asphalt is a group that is within or under the CAPA banner. So I am the staff liaison between these great women and what's going on in the industry. So just so you know, women, we'll go through a little bit of stuff. We got a lot of people ready to talk to you this morning. And are you kidding me? There we go. So these are our panelists today, and we're going to go ahead and let everybody do their own introduction. So we'll start with the president of the chapter, or excuse me, of the branch, Nikki Upright.
Hi, I'm Nikki Upright, and I am the president for the branch, for the Colorado branch, Women of Asphalt. I work for CDOT, and I have been permanent with CDOT for the last 31 years, over 31 years. And I had done 4 summers prior to that as an intern, and then an intern with the city of Loveland as well. I've been in the industry a long time, and when I first started, there wasn't too many women besides flaggers out in the industry. So it's good to see some ladies, and then also have some support out there when we're working.
Tammy Buck.
Hi, I'm Tammy Buck. Like Tom said, I am the vice president of the Women of Asphalt Colorado branch. Proud to be. I did 30 years with CDOT, and I retired in 2014. I've been with Ye and Associates since then. Still loving the business, but I'm pushing 40 years in the industry, and I've seen a lot of changes over the years. And when CAPA asked me to be a part of this, I jumped on it because I've seen too few women in the industry over the years, and we're still low, like 8 to 10%, I believe, but we're getting better. So we're trying to increase those numbers because there's a lot of smart women out there. Joe?
Taylor. Joe, unmute yourself. Well, we'll move on and we'll come back to Joe. Natalie Olvin. Ladies, if you know you're coming up, unmute yourself.
I'm sorry, shall I start again?
Go ahead, Joe.
I'm Joe Taylor. I work for Colorado Public Works Journal. I'm the secretary for Women of Asphalt Colorado branch. The reason that I'm involved is because as a media sponsor, I can actually help Women of Asphalt expand their audience via my publication and help put them in touch with sponsors and other opportunities to widen their reach.
Thank you. Natalie Olvin, are you unmuted?
I'm unmuted. I am Natalie Olvin, the treasurer of the Women of Asphalt branch of Colorado. And I'm also an estimator, project manager for Pyramid Construction, and have been doing demolition, estimating, and project management since 98. And I've seen quite a bit of change too. So we're going in the right direction.
Abby Glazer.
Hi, I'm Abby Glazer. I am a committee member with Women of Asphalt. This will be my 16th paving season with Martin Marietta. I started in the scale house and I currently work as a project manager.
Kelly French.
My name is Kelly French. I am with Brandon Sand and Gravel. This is my 6th paving season with Brandon. I graduated from CSU in 2012 with my civil engineering degree and then came over to Brandon right after I graduated. Yeah.
Heather Tom.
Hi, I'm Heather Tom. I work for Elam Construction as their quality control engineer. I've been with them for about 9 years, but I've been testing asphalt since about 2009.
Sandy Gomke.
Well, I'm Sandy Gomke. I'm with EA and Associates. I've been working in the business for about 25 years now, the last almost 12 years with EA and Associates. And for them, I'm a lead tech and the fleet manager. I am also a veteran, which suited me for the position in the committee to encourage female veterans to get into our business. And that's my role right now.
Ali Lascaro.
Hi, I'm Allie. I am the social media person with Women of Asphalt, and I work for Alfred Benish and Company right now. I'm a project engineer over there.
Well, thank you all, ladies, for being on, and thank you for those introductions. So we're going to kind of move into, what the group is all about, and we'll start out with Nikki giving us an explanation of who Women of Asphalt are.
So Women of Asphalt is actually a national organization that started 3, maybe 4 years ago and has grown. It's gaining traction, more traction all the time. Colorado was the first one in the nation, the first state in the nation to have its own branch. And we've been in existence now almost 2 years. So we're leading the nation in what we do. So we're actually inspiring and teaching the other women in the nation how to do Women of Asphalt and how to lead others. So the mission is to lead and inspire women in the asphalt industry. And the Women of Asphalt goals is to foster and promote mentoring and networking opportunities for women and to create professional development opportunities for women in asphalt through education and training. To advocate for women in the industry and to encourage other women to join us, to not be afraid of what we do.
And Nikki, I'll jump in here for a second. One of the things I get a number of calls from other state associations, of which there are 40 total in the United States, asking how the Women of Asphalt Colorado has been so successful in what they're doing and what you guys are doing. So, and that's been going on for more than 2 years, and what's going on. So with the leadership we have here, that's one of the things too. We're reaching out, not only inspiring, you guys are not only inspiring other women, but you're inspiring the other women's groups in the other 40 other states. So we'll move on to the specifics about the Colorado branch, and we'll get Tammy Buck to speak here. Tammy?
Sorry about that. Okay, so I'm going to talk about some of our activities that we have been doing over the last couple years. We started out, we had one in-person mixer, oh gosh, what, a year ago in October, before the world went crazy. So we did that at, I already forgot, was that Honan?
Yes.
Honan Equipment. And it was great. It was very successful. And since the pandemic, we have moved those mixers to online the third Thursday of every month. At first, we weren't thinking that we love doing that because we prefer in person, but the beauty of it has been being able to include women from other parts of the state. We've had a lot of women from Northern Colorado, from Western Colorado, Southern Colorado join us on those calls. And we've done everything from scavenger hunts and Halloween costume contests to a Christmas party. We did a cocktail contest. And now we have started doing some presenting of different subjects at the beginning and then kind of having just some open forum talks. So please join us for those if you'd like. It's really fun and informative. So hopefully we can do some mixers in person soon. Kappa has set up a really cool TV camera operation in their certification center, and so we could still do the in-person, Denver Metro, but then we can still zoom in with the Western Slope and the Northern Colorado ladies. So, and men, we encourage men to join too. So we have a golf tournament coming up May 14th at Homestead Golf Tournament. Registration open yet, Tom?
It is.
Okay, registration's open on the Kappa website, and we would love some sponsorship. And this golf tournament is to benefit our training academy that we're getting going. So we're also trying to support military veterans, and I'm going to let Sandy talk about that a little bit since that's her baby.
Well, basically, last year we had planned to have a job fair where we invited various asphalt companies and testing companies to come and gather in one place and have veterans come and apply to look around to see if there was something that would interest them. Our main goal was for women, is where it started. But after communicating with the Veterans Administration and stuff, they very politely asked if we could open it up to men too. So we are supporting all our veterans as a group. And unfortunately, COVID came along, kind of put a kibosh on that, but we haven't given up on it. We're just looking for the opportunity to be able to get all these people together and see what we can get for new hires. And hopefully soon, because I know those veterans are out there.
And as Sandy said, that was supposed to have been early April of 2020 that was supposed to have taken place. And with the, early things that went on with COVID and what's went on since, that was kiboshed. But Sandy's still working on it. And we really appreciate that, Sandy. And we appreciate you as a veteran and all the other veterans out there as well. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Moving on.
So
Go ahead.
we can cover that later. Nikki's gonna go more into this, or whoever is gonna do this.
Well, that brings us to this point then, Tammy. So Nikki, tell us a little bit about the idea of where the training academy came from, and then we're going to get a lot of other people in here to actually chime in as part of this as well. So Abby, Kelly, Sandy, Allie, we're all going to get all of you to chime in too. But Nikki, we're going to let you go ahead and lead this.
Okay. So our mission is to lead and inspire women to look for careers in the asphalt and construction industry. And we want to help assistance in that area because it's not always easy to get into this area and be successful. and to the veterans, low income families, single mothers. This is a great industry to get into. But there's challenges to it. So why not create an academy that will allow the women to enroll free of charge, gain experience in a safe environment, receive certifications upon completing classes that can help them succeed. Learn how to read plans, learn how to test, all kinds of different things that we can do. So, the young girls coming in like Kelly and them, what does that mean to you guys if this was available coming into the industry, would that have helped you get in?
Kelly? Kelly's muted. Abby, how about you? I see you're unmuted. No, you're not. You're still there. You go, Abby.
Oh yeah. So I can only imagine. I know just being able to check in with all of you wonderful ladies has been really rewarding and affirming and kind of an energy boost, to have comrades. So I can only imagine if it had been focused, how much more rewarding that would have been. Just sharing stories about challenges and lessons learned, I think would be outstanding.
Kelly?
Yeah, I think that just trying to get more women into this industry is going to be amazing. I personally think that we've got a huge number of really hardworking women out there that would really thrive in this industry, and there's a lot of opportunity for growth. And I think it just is going to be awesome to have this training academy to help people get to hit the ground running with some basic knowledge and to gain some interest in the industry as well. I'm sure everybody's experienced being the only female on a job site, so maybe in another 5 or 10 years it will be not so much we're the only woman on the job site. So,
Allie, I want to jump on put this question to you now. You come from the engineering side as opposed to the construction side, more so to speak. So talk about a little bit how you think this could help the women on your side of the fence as well.
Yeah, so I was actually lucky enough to have another woman engineer as my first boss. And I just know having that support for 2 or 3 years just was a game changer for me. And I think that it's super important for us to continue that, to hopefully get more women involved in the industry, especially in construction, just because I know coming from Chicago, a lot of the people that I've graduated with quit the industry just for different reasons. So if we could prevent that from happening, I think it'd be a game changer. And I think the training academy might really help that, just showing the support that is.
Heather, I'm going to reach out to you now. So we go back, Heather, you're going to have to unmute yourself. We go back a long way, Heather and I do.
Yes.
Probably when you first started in this industry, Heather. Tell us about your rise through the industry and how some of these things that we're showing on the slide now, these how to estimate, how to test, and how those things may have helped you to get to the point where you're at as, you're managing that operation that you have over there for Elam Construction.
Well, I've only been with this industry since 2009. I'm also a civil engineer who started off in a different side of construction, but I think this would have helped. Most of the engineers I worked with were all males, and there were very few females on the engineering side and in the testing side in construction. I've been lucky in our company. We have a lot of wonderful females who, majority of our quality control department is female, which is an amazing thing. We all work really hard. And I think this could have helped some of them to feel more comfortable getting into the business. And being a single mother, this would have probably helped some as well, because you feel like you can't do anything, work in construction and raise a child.
You're 9-year-old now, right, Heather?
Yeah, she's 9, about the same time I started here at Elam.
So Sandy, I'm going to ask you, you've been around the block a time or two. Sandy at one point was the 2000th certified technician in the state of Colorado, if I'm not mistaken what it was.
Yeah.
So Sandy worked for a producer, now has moved on to a consultant. And again, Sandy and I go back 20 years. 20 years, Sandy?
A little bit,
so, yeah. And you come from a military background. You did your time in the Navy, as we talked about. But, I mean, you had to learn, just like, Abby said she started out in the scale house and had to learn the industry. Now Abby's running projects for Martin Marietta and winning multiple Best in Colorado awards this year, as did Kelly. But Sandy, talk about where you think, how you think it could have been different if you'd have had different mentorship, or you'd have had somebody else that, wasn't a guy named John or somebody like that no last name said, but as a mentor, a female mentor as opposed to a male mentor. And I'm not saying that none of you had good male mentors. Let's be clear.
Right.
But there's a different relationship that you have with a male than you would with a female.
When I started, when I got into QC, was on the job training, and at that time there weren't any other females doing QC, so I was it. And when I went for the job, it's like, well, what makes you think you can do this job? It's really hard. You have to lift and all this kind of stuff. And I just pointed out that when I was in the Navy, I fixed tugboats, and that kind of took care of the problem. But there was a lot of mental ways of looking at it. There had been another female QC, and she was not suited to the job. And that's why she got out of it. And I said, I want her job. As I dealt with more and more guys out in the field at the plants, when I go to get samples and stuff, they were like, well, so-and-so didn't want to do this or wouldn't do this. And I'm like, I'm not so-and-so. I will lift my own buckets. I will get my own samples. And if I get a little asphalt on my arm, big deal, but that took some time to overcome, because we're not just overcoming as women. We're not just overcoming the men's mental point of view as we're women and we can't handle this job. We're also overcoming the fact that there were other women who were not suited to the job, and they did not do a good job, and we have to overcome that. So with these training academies, we can get women ready to get into this project, or sadly, maybe to find out they aren't suited for the job. And so the ones that can go through this academy can either decide, no, I don't want to do this, and they'll go do whatever they want to do. But the women who stay in it and get into it will do a good job and raise our reputation as women in asphalt. And I think this is what the training academy can do.
I would like to expand on that a little bit, and I'm going to reach out to Kelly and Abby in this, because Sandy, you talked about that physical part that you had to deal with, picking up buckets and running the samples and picking up the big heavy molds and all those kinds of things. Mm-hmm. Kelly and Abby are kind of on a little bit different side of that. Kelly, coming from the engineering side, being first project superintendent, now project manager, you don't have that same necessarily physical aspect of your job on a daily basis. I mean, I know I've seen you out there picking up buckets, and I've seen you, toting signs and doing all that kind of stuff, but it's not the same thing as what the QC people are doing. And then Abby, I'm going to reach out to you as well, because you started in the scale house, pushing buttons, printing tickets and doing all that stuff, and have worked up to being a project manager as well. So the mental aspect of what you've had to do and go through, yeah, there's the physical, but this is just to show that there are, and having these education classes to expose people. Maybe I do want to become a project manager. Maybe I do want to do that there is an opportunity to move forward. So Kelly, first talk about, the physical part, but talk about also the mental part that you have to deal with.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, obviously this job is physically demanding in its own way, but I would say that overcoming the stigma that you're the female on the job site and overcoming the fact that everybody is a guy that has, presumably I'm young, so a lot more years of experience, and suddenly you're in your early 20s and you're thrown into a position of power. Definitely takes a little bit to gain that respect. And I think that having these basic skills that we're talking about learning in the training academy would really help women come into the industry with some knowledge, so they're not just seen as someone that's green on the job site that can get walked over. But having some, they can stand up for themselves and be like, no, I know what I'm talking about in this regard. Obviously there's a give and take in every situation, and I've learned a lot from the guys that have a lot more experience than I do, but just having a leg to stand on in that regard would be really beneficial for women trying to get into the industry and not get burnt out right away because they don't feel like they have any respect.
Abby, your progression through, your career, you're muted. Oh, there you go. Your progression through your career, you've had to, say, I want to try that, and I want to try this, and I want to do that. Having this available to you 15 years ago, where you could have said, well, I want to try that. And then you go to a 1-day class or a 2-day class or something, you find out, no, that's not for me. With how much of a benefit would that possibly have been for you to find out, yeah, I want to try and snake my way up through these companies, but maybe I don't want to go that way. I want to go this way.
Yeah, that would be so helpful, just to have that thing to kind of invoke that confidence to self-advocate. I think one year I talked my way into doing winter maintenance on the asphalt plant. And I made it through the whole winter, but after that, I decided that wasn't for me. So if I hadn't gotten myself into a whole winter of that, I probably would have been nice.
Allie, you had some interesting experiences in 2020. Not only did we fight the pandemic, but Allie was out running a project from a consultant side, but she was also somewhere between just pregnant to 9 months pregnant during that whole thing. And tell us about, your experience out there and how you had to deal with all of that being a female, because that's part of the job. I mean, let's be truthful here. Young women get pregnant and want to start their families, and the challenges that you had to deal with and how you were helped through that process.
It was definitely a challenging time, not gonna lie. I had a lot of the men out there because we were doing an asphalt paving job, and a lot of the men out there kept on telling me to go sit in my car, not to walk the asphalt. I understood their concern, but also I would constantly have to tell them, this is my job. And I had to constantly remind them, I'm not going to push myself too hard. You're just going to have to trust me. And just like having that confidence, I think from the past 7 years, again, was pretty important to me. So just with the training academy, I think knowing, basic design stuff, basic estimating, and having different confidences in yourself is just incredibly important. And hopefully the training academy can help younger girls, younger women have that confidence when they're walking onto their first construction site.
Nikki, I'm going to reach back at you here because you've had, a week or two in the industry, as we heard from your bio there in the beginning. But one of the bullet points we got up here is learning how to operate equipment. And I'm going to preface this by saying I don't think that this training academy is actually going to teach anybody to be an operator. I think that the idea of the training academy is to get people to understand how they can run a piece of equipment, but there's a difference between being an equipment operator and being able to run a piece of equipment. And I know that we've talked about this, and one of the things that you and I talked about was that early in your career, putting yourself up on a piece of equipment just to see what it will do. You couldn't operate it, but you can see what it would do. Helps you in your job to know that if somebody's doing something, and they say they can't do it with the piece of equipment, you understand what that means. So can you talk about that a little bit, Nikki?
Absolutely. Coming from the CDOT side, we don't operate equipment. We're around equipment, but we do not do the operation of equipment. So how does a paver operate? How does, you put a coal cow on the front of a paver and you want somebody to drive a straight line. That should be easy, right? And so I got the opportunity to get up on a paver once and try to drive it with the coal cow. First off, I don't even know how to turn on the piece of equipment, let alone drive it, And so having people there to coach you on that, and I'll tell you what, I couldn't drive a straight line if I had to, but I thought I could. So being able to operate or learn what a piece of equipment does in a non-pressure setting, I think it's going to be great and great for anybody. How do you turn on a piece of equipment? I've never even sat in a skidster. It would be fun to even try that, and not on the roadway where I could crash into something. An example out there.
I will tell you that it looks fun, but it's not.
And we just had an example. For the first time in my career, I have a female superintendent on a project. And just a couple of weeks ago, we're switching traffic. We had to get water barrier filled up, before we could switch traffic. The superintendent, who's never driven a water truck, jumps into a water truck, and there's the dirt foreman's trying to teach her how to run a water truck via phone. And she's like, she doesn't understand air brakes. She doesn't understand how to gear shift it, grinding gears. She got the job done, but wouldn't it have been less stressful if we had a little bit of working knowledge on that? That's the kind of things that I would like to see at the training academy. Just give us a little working knowledge so we can feel more confident when we're trying to do the job and when we have to do the job. And if you guys have suggestions, write them into the chat. We're looking for suggestions. What would you like to see at the academy?
There was a question that popped in, and I'm going to pose this to anybody who wants to answer it. But, what skills do you think best have served you in your career? And we've got a multitude of people who have been across paths in their career. So, I open it up to anybody. Sandy, go ahead.
Yeah. So, when I knew we were going to be doing this today, and I was thinking about this last night, and I hit on, I don't know if I can call it a skill, but I'm going to call it a mindset. You have to understand that this job is an adventure. And I hate to say that being a Navy veteran, but it's true. One of the great things about this project, this field of work, and why I've done it for 25 years and have enjoyed it so much, is that every day is different. Every day something new happens, good or bad. It doesn't matter. Every day is different. So what you did yesterday is not going to be the same thing you did today. There's going to be a new place, a new road, a new project, new people you have to meet and work with, because in this industry, we all know each other. And we're going to go from one project to another project. Oh, look, I remember I just worked with you for 5 years. Every day is going to be different. Every day is an adventure. So having the mindset of that is, I would consider that a skill. You need to come in with, this is going to be fun. This is going to be a positive experience. I'm going to learn stuff. The academy taught me how to do this, so now I can go into this job and go, yeah, okay, bring it on. What's new? What do you got for me now? And I don't know if that's a skill, but that's a mindset for this entire industry. And that's why I love it. I'm just one of those people that doesn't like to be bored. And believe it or not, good or bad, I have never been bored. So it's all attitude. It's just get in there and do it. It's fun. It'll be great.
Allie, I see you're ready to speak, whether you were or not. You are now. You're a little newer in the industry, so what skills have you learned so far that you think are going to propel you for the next 5, 10, 15, 30 years?
So coming out of college, I don't think any of us really knew much of anything. We knew theoretical stuff. So just my first few years, it's just actually learning how to do things and like looking at the operations and all that, especially with paving. And then I did a lot of bridge construction too. And that was definitely a learning curve. And one of my biggest skills that I think I've had to learn on projects is, again, just confidence and not being so soft-spoken. And it's definitely something that how would you put it? I just had to learn and gain that confidence. And I think just being around other women and them telling me like, hey, like this is how you kind of got to act on a job site and all that would have helped tremendously, because I still am not that great at it, I wouldn't think. I think a lot of contractors see young women on the site and just try to take advantage of us and just assume that we don't know anything. And if you don't know anything, or once you do have that confidence, they won't be able to nitpick you as much, just coming from the consultant side, of course.
One of the things that I do know, many of you, especially the ones that I deal with this group regularly, is most of you are pretty soft-spoken when we are just having conversations. But I have seen many of you out on projects and your Mr. Hyde personality comes out. You got the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, and Abby's laughing because I've seen her chew people out for not paying attention and not doing the right things. And I didn't see it much with you last summer, Allie, but I could see it. And I have seen Nikki do that. So you have to have that personality to be, and I think you said it, you have to have that personality that will allow you to switch from your normal life to your work life and be assertive. You have to be assertive. And it's not that any of you have been, those of that I've seen, it's not that you've been mean or nasty or anything like that. You're being assertive because you are in a position of authority, or you do need to be heard, and you don't want somebody to not hear you. Is that fair?
Yeah. I always tell contractors when I first meet them that I'm actually a really nice person, as long as we all just do our jobs and do them well. And usually I get a good response from that.
And that doesn't really come from any kind of training. I think that's just experience. You learn how to hold your own from being in those situations a few times.
Yeah, definitely.
Natalie,
Natalie,
I want to bring you in here a little bit. I've known you for many years. I've seen how you work, and you've been working kind of in this arena of mentoring and working with young people for quite some time. You and I worked a high school job fair, high school deal a couple of years ago. And talk about that mentoring and how you think that, this is going to be a benefit. You as an experienced, very young woman still, and how
I have 5 grandbabies, Tom.
Even younger women will help to further their careers.
So the program that I work with in Colorado Springs is through the Housing and Building Association. And inside of that is a subcommittee called Careers in Construction. So El Paso County has brought shop class back to all of the high schools. So we get to go, not really because the kids aren't in school right now, but we were able to go and meet with the kids and explain how we got into the industry, what we do, and just give a background and be able to meet with the kids. And they're already in shop class. So then I can connect them to us as Pyramid Construction to bring people in as laborers by the time they're 18. And the same with a lot of different, like Kiewit, Martin, Schmidt, any of those guys. If they need laborers and they're members of the HBA, they just reach out and say, this is what we need. There's smaller companies too. There's landscape companies. But right now, so I just met with a committee, it's job placement committee for these high school kids. Because these poor kids have to work from home and go to school 2 days, they're losing their fire. They're losing their interest in our industry right now. So our labor pool is getting really flippin' shallow. So we're going to start putting some programs together. And I know up in Denver, there's an HBA, and I think I just heard that they want to start the careers in construction program up there as well. So I urge all of you to please get into this kind of a program. And if it doesn't exist, reach out to me, I'll help you. And back to Sandy's point, not just the kids. So Sandy, you were saying as far as everything's different, you have to be flexible constantly. So if you're working on a project and you got another project coming up, or there's a bunch of projects going on at the same time, you just have to be malleable. And it's pretty cool to teach the kids that too, because you're not just sitting in a bank, you're not sitting in an office, whatever job they think is what they're supposed to be doing. You can actually lift them up and just teach them to understand that this is a world that would embrace them completely. As long as you're willing to work and you're willing to get up early in the morning and you're willing to be flexible, anybody can do this. So yeah, if anybody wants to reach out to me about mentoring with the kids, please.
Natalie, one of the things that you and I, when we were together down there at that event, one of the things that you talked about was the financial opportunities in this industry, where there's been a lot of shade cast on our industry that, oh, it's just a construction job, you're never going to make it anywhere. And can you explain a little bit how you talk to those kids and mentor those kids to explain to them that, look, this isn't working at McDonald's?
No. So the one thing that I do tell them is, if you want to become a doctor, you have to go to school to be a doctor, right? Or a lawyer, whatever the case may be. In our industry, we can bring them in at 18 and start teaching them a trade. And that trade pays up to 100,000, up to 150. The potential it's unlimited. They can be out in the field, learn all that stuff, and then come into the office. They want to be a project manager. They want to be an estimator. Project manager, you're still going to be out in the field, but I'm just saying all of the steps that it takes to get to those, whether you're an inspector, it's just unlimited, and it gets the kids pretty excited. One of the things that we're going to do, actually, because COVID, I'm just going to say that. What we're going to do is we're going to start going onto our job sites with the people of careers in construction and start videoing, taping, I don't know what you call that, but use your phone and start asking my guys out in the field, how'd you start? What do you do? How come you're here? What's your favorite part? What part do you hate? And then we're going to get in the equipment and show them, this is the equipment that we use on these projects. And how freaking fun is that? So then they get to watch these videos and we're still lighting a fire under their butts.
So to kind of end up this segment that we're on here, Nikki, I'm going to come back to you so you can talk about that last bullet point, of what the Academy is really, and it hasn't happened yet. So this is a vision from the board and the officers on the board of the Women of Asphalt. So Nikki, you want to talk a little bit about where your vision is?
Yeah, so kind of what we're thinking, and again, this is just a start. We're trying to figure out how this will all work, especially in the world we live in today. But small informal classes, quarterly on a Saturday in person. So we know you have a job. We know we're busy during the summers, or other people have other jobs. Maybe they're trying to get into this career. We don't want to take away from that. And so, in person, have a mentor from one of us that's in the industry. Have that contact. Link with organizations, and get the people that are experienced and have good working knowledge. There's been some great suggestions coming in the chat here. On how to do this. But right now, start small, little stuff, and then maybe this will grow into something that is all the time, where we can have we really train the women and maybe even men going into the industry. Who knows where this is going to go.
Yeah, I like your point there, Nikki, that Women of Asphalt is focused certainly on women, but you're non-discriminatory, and there are many men that are actually part of this branch, correct?
There are, and we encourage the men. In fact, at our next mixer that's coming up on the 18th of this month, one of my tester, who's also going to CSU for construction management, is going to chat about the different types of leadership styles. So we gather people from all over to speak to us. It's not just ladies speaking to us. It's not just ladies that attend our groups. We have, at the mixers, we have 2 or 3 guys that come all the time. So we embrace the guys in our group because that's who we have to work with.
All right, so now I'm going to bring in Joe Taylor. Joe, talk about some of the things that are upcoming in the next few months, and where you see this thing being, let's say, by mid to late summer.
Okay, so what's on our calendar for the spring? As we've already mentioned, the monthly happy hours. So this month, March 18th, 6 o'clock. And whilst we're doing it via Zoom, you can be anywhere. You could be at home, you can be at the office. All you need is your computer or your phone and a glass of something and sit down and join us. And it's probably the best opportunity for you to informally get to know us. And I would suggest if you want an invitation for this month, put your name in the chat and we'll make sure that you're added to the list. The next event that Women of Asphalt will be at will be the Appreciation of Asphalt Days, I Love Asphalt. The first one is April 30th, 10:30 to 1:30 at the Bandimere Speedway, which is in Morrison, Colorado. And the exact same thing is going to be held May 5th on the western slope at the Mesa County Fairgrounds. So either of those, if they're in your area, come along to that and come and talk to us. And again, give us your ideas. Start thinking about the Academy and what it could look like. Bring some ideas to us that we may not have even thought about.
Joe, talk a little bit more about the what the presence of Women of Asphalt will be at those 2 I Love Asphalt Appreciation Days.
Well, we're going to have a booth manned by some of the committee members at each event. So we can then, we're hoping to grow our membership, obviously. So we'll be there to, take on board ideas from the people that visit us and, share some of the sponsorship opportunities that we have, which I'll talk about in a moment.
One of the good things that Becky Rowland, who is the conference coordinator, has set up is that if you come and attend those I Love Asphalt events and have registered in advance, you'll not only get to come look at all the equipment that'll be on display from our great vendors, but you'll get a free lunch. So, hey, people like a free lunch, right? So, so Joe, keep on.
You have to sign up for the free lunch, I believe.
Yes, you do. You have to register to get the free lunch.
But
Go ahead, Joe.
sorry, the other event that we have in the spring is the golf tournament, which is our very first Women of Asphalt fundraiser. So note it's raising funds for the Women of Asphalt. There's a little clue there. We've already got 5 companies that have sponsored this event. So we've got many more opportunities to sponsor, whether it's a hole, a beverage cart, the event sponsors, golf towels, all sorts. So reach out to any one of us if you'd like to be involved in that, or even just play. We're happy to have you. That's
Sure.
May 14th in Lakewood.
Let's talk about those 5 sponsors. Let's give them a little bit of love right here.
Okay, the 5 that we have so far are Colorado Barricade, Brannan Sand and Gravel, Marty Marietta, FHU, Kiewit. And in fact, as we've been on this morning, I just had an email to say that Honda are on board. So that actually makes it 6.
Nick,
So
you said you had some others, maybe?
I've got whole sponsors. RS&H has jumped on. American GPR has jumped on board. FHU has jumped on board as whole sponsors and a golf cart sponsor as well. And I believe Environmental Merit jumped on. Kelly got them yesterday to jump on board. So yeah, we're getting sponsorships from all different kinds of people. So you don't have to be just a asphalt vendor. You can be a consultant. You can be anything, any part of the industry.
I've actually reached out to Four Rivers, Wagner, and the owners here. So I'll have answers for you, Joe, by tomorrow.
great. Yeah,
So
let's
go ahead and tell us some of the other opportunities.
Other opportunities for sponsorship, obviously make a donation. We accept cash or check. Sponsor an event, even if we haven't even thought about it. When we are back to in-person meetings, we'd look to come to your venue to host an event. I think Tammy mentioned earlier that Honan Equipment hosted our last in-person event, which was great because it was an after-work evening where people had the opportunity to try some of the machinery and get an introduction to what the different machines did. And then we had a happy hour after that, which was a great networking opportunity. Educating a student and becoming a mentor, that's more down the line, in line with the academy and what we're hoping to achieve through that goal.
Thanks, Joe. As we wrap up, some other ways you can get involved. So I'll let whoever wants to chime in here.
Well, the very first thing that you need to do is to get onto our mailing list, just to keep aware of what we're doing and what's going on. So our email address is info@womenofasphalt-colorado.org. But if you've put your name in the chat, we'll also add you that way. So if that's easier for you, take a look at the national branch website, womenofasphalt.org, because that will give you an overview of what they're trying to do nationally. And you can also click on the Colorado tab there and learn more about us. The monthly happy hours that we've already spoke about via Zoom currently. Hosting an event when possible. If your company is interested in doing that, then come and talk to us and we can put you on the calendar for later in the year. Sponsoring. We have some t-shirts ready for the summer, and I think some of our ladies are wearing them today. Short sleeved grey t-shirts, ideal for the upcoming weather we're having, and we're selling those for just $5. And finally, the best thing of marketing in all is tell people about us. If you tell your customers, your colleagues, your neighbors, your friends, Women of Asphalt, it's certainly a conversation starter, I can tell you.
So Allie, you're the social media expert here. How can people start seeing your social media stuff?
I am linking all of them in the chat room. You can just click on that. We are also on LinkedIn, which I'm about to link right now. But you can always just find us if you search Women of Asphalt CO on Instagram, or Women of Asphalt Colorado on Instagram and in LinkedIn. And we're trying to post more often, especially on Instagram and Facebook, excuse me. And as I said, again, in the chat room, we do plan on doing like day in the life of, you know, an engineer, an asphalt operator and stuff like that. So should be some exciting posts coming up.
Well, ladies, we've come to the end of our hour. I want to thank all of you for being on board. I did see watching the chat window, there were several of you that have indicated you want to be a part of this group. Like Joe said, you can go on the womenofasphalt.org website. You can register through that website. That will automatically get you put into the Colorado database, but easier, send a message out to the info at womenofasphalt-colorado.org. So you can be put on the mailing list. On the CAPA, there is always a section on there for the Women of Asphalt. They will talk about some of the current events. So you'll see the hyperlink for registration to the golf tournament on there. I'm going to make it live this afternoon so that people can start registering. This was the point where Nikki and the executive committee said we'll announce it and open it up on March 4th. So it will be open this afternoon. There will always be information in there about the various mixers or other events that the Women of Asphalt are holding. I believe that the link to the March 18th Zoom webinar or Zoom mixer is up there. If it's not, it will be. So just keep in mind that you can look at that. Women of Asphalt also have their own page on the CAPA website. So if you go to the home page, on the right-hand side, there's a gray box with lots of different things listed. I think there's 10 different lists in there. One of them near the top is Women of Asphalt. So you can click on that and go to that page as well. So again, I want to thank everybody for being on. And I don't know how many participants we had today. Becky, can you unmute?
We had at some points over 40.
So we want to thank all of you for being on and listening to what was happening today. Actually, we'll open us. I've got a couple of minutes. If anybody does have questions, unmute yourself and ask your questions. Kristen Moran, I heard you on from Kristen's down in Durango. So she's on with us and she's regularly on the mixers. So
thanks for being my mentor, but I kind of wish you would have been a woman.
Thanks. Some people say I am though, Kristen. Anybody else got anything they'd like to add? If not, Becky, I'm going to turn it back to you.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Great information, and I think that this hopefully gives some additional resources for Women of Asphalt to move forward and have some additional volunteers. Do you want